Our man, Vinny Goodwill, Kyrie Irving, the gift that keeps on giving. Kyrie Irving is daring the Nets to let him test free agency. The gamble could cost him Kevin Durant. Maybe his last friend left, I think, at this point.
That may not be a
Vinny.
straw.
Vinny, what is, I read Vinny's columns. It's so great. And all I could think of was the scene in Barbershop where Terry's man is like, I could do better. You're not even that fine. Like, I'm like, all right, then he found out, right? Like, at some point, Kyrie's going to find out, right?
There's this phrase that we like to use in the community called F around and find out. Kyrie is kind of in that middle spot between cause and effect right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is so odd. If when we think about it, Kyrie Irving, part-time player, wants full-time pay. We all want that, right? But we can't actually get it. We actually have to show up and commit and everything else. That's like adult conversations that you have with like-minded adults. And Kyrie is running out of places to go. I'll give you guys what I think is a perfect analogy. Terrell Owens, I don't think was done when the NFL was done with him. But so much damage had been done. He had wrecked, so many locker rooms, whether by principle or by choice or whatever it was, that he literally had no other place to go. I think it was his last year in Buffalo, and he was still relatively a productive receiver. I think he had the injury and then came back and nobody wanted him. I feel like that's going to be Kyrie Irving in a little while. Like, the small picture is Kyrie Irving's trying to opt out, maybe go to LA, pay for the taxpayer mid-level $6 million and then commit long-term after that. But Kyrie is going to be 31 years old. Like, there's not many more places to go. There's not many more situations that he can go and blame all these other, special circumstances. And it's going to come to a point where someone's going to say, you're not worth the trouble. The Brooklyn Nets, a team with no identity on the NBA map, is saying you're not worth the trouble. They're the second team in the city with the New York Knicks. Do you know how bad you have to be with an identity with the New York Knicks to be behind them? And they're saying Kyrie Irving isn't worth the trouble? How many more teams are going to say Kyrie Irving is? I'm not sure if there's any.
Vinny, I'm curious.
Am I wrong?
Why do you think Kyrie, he has to understand all of this, right?
Are you suggesting self-awareness? Is that what you're suggesting, Jim Trotter? Self-awareness?
Is there none there?
No, I think sometimes Kyrie, depending on the day, can be a coherent human being, and he can understand the world going on around him. He can mean well. He can understand the circumstances. But, we live in a world, especially with athletics, exceptions are always made for exceptional people. And he thinks that he is the exception to the rule. He thought he was the exception to the rule with the New York vaccine mandate. And he wound up winning in that in a way, because they relented and the vaccine mandate was lifted. And before that, the Nets let him come back and play road games in a completely unnatural, situation. So whenever Kyrie has barked, he's gotten what he's wanted. The thing is, nobody looked at it and said, man, did Cleveland really get bad when he left? No, they went to the finals the next year. Did Boston really get bad when he left? No. A couple years later, they went back to the NBA finals after he left. So nobody's actually done the math and done the calculus that even if you lose Kyrie, it doesn't mean that you're in such a situation that's not advantageous for you moving forward. And Kyrie hasn't had the self-evaluation to say, hey, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep crying wolf. And at some point, someone's not going to be able to or have the appetite to take me. I don't think he has the self-awareness, not in the aggregate, maybe for an hour at a time. But as far as 7 days out of the week, 24/7, nah, he don't have it.
See, I got to wonder, like, one of my boys is a huge Lakers fan, right? And you hear Clippers, you hear Knicks. I read you, obviously these are teams in the mix. Everybody keeps talking about the Lakers. And my guy's like, oh, get him and LeBron back together. It's like Ben and Jennifer getting back together. They've gone through their stuff and now they're in a good place. I'm like, it's like Bobby and Whitney. Like, I don't think this is like, they're neither's really in a great place at this stage. Like, I mean, what? Like, why would LeBron? Why? I understand. To me, it's almost like you have nothing left. Like, this is it. Like, this is the last kind of play, the last sort of grasp. Am I wrong to think that it's a suggestion that LeBron really has no outs? And it's two people who really have no outs at this point other than to try to find that magic of 2016 again?
I mean, there's a song that Michael Smith loves on this show, and I hate the song. And I'm going to bring it up because I feel like there's no better way to signify this marriage between Kyrie and LeBron. We ain't getting no younger. Might as well do it. That's what I feel like both of those guys are at. LeBron is stuck with Russell Westbrook, who can't play anymore. And he's stuck with Anthony Davis, who can't get on the floor. So, yeah, he's kind of stuck with two guys making $40+ million. The Lakers don't have the options, nor does the front office have the creativity and the connections to actually augment what LeBron is bringing on the floor. So, yeah, LeBron, why not try that old thing back? And if you're Kyrie, your greatest individual success came when you were in LeBron's shadow. And a couple years later, after you acted a fool and get out of there, you had regrets and said, you know what, maybe I would be in LA with LeBron right now because that was the best situation for me. And you know what? LeBron is probably not going to say no. You think he'd rather play with Russell Westbrook or Kyrie Irving? Provided Kyrie Irving actually shows up to work. You know, there's that little thing called attendance that we kind of overlook.
But that's a big thing. Like you just said, you got one guy who can't stay on the floor healthy, and you got another guy then who you don't know if he wants to be on the floor or will show up. So Bron may find himself out there all alone again. That's why this thing doesn't work for me.
But see, Jim, you're using like human calculus. You are using logic right now. Like, this is completely illogical. This is like anarchy. This is almost like Dark Knight, where the Joker literally set money on fire, and then he went and set the hospital on fire, and the button wasn't working, and then all of a sudden the hospital went on fire, and he jumped and got. This is what all of this feels like. This is the NBA now. It is fantasy basketball. It is franchise mode, and it is let's just see if this will work, because Golden State is a monster, and Milwaukee is a monster, and you're not going to get results unless you try something different, because team building only works for those two. Everything else seems to be, hey, y'all, let's see if we can get on the group chat and make this work, because trusting GMs, that's uncivilized.
Hold on, Vinny. I gotta take you here for 1 second, because Charles and I were on the phone earlier this morning.
Okay,
and we got
to talk. You're gonna bring it up. All right.
We got to talking about Golden State. Now, I grew up in the Bay Area, born in San Francisco, used to sit in the $5 seats at the Oakland Coliseum Arena at that time. Tell my man Charles that the Warriors might be even better next year than they were this year.
Yeah, because of a guy named James Wiseman.
Thank you.
Very, very rarely, Charles, do you have a champion with a top-level pick that's just sitting and waiting. Oh, yeah, I remember the Los Angeles Lakers had a guy named James Worthy in '82, and all of a sudden that became what we've seen as modern-day Showtime. You swap out some of the old pieces, you get some young pieces in there, and that train keeps on rolling. Why? Because Magic and Steph. And although Steph is older than what Magic was at that time, you're going to have a Klay Thompson who's healthier than he was this year. He's going to know his body a little bit better. And all those young guys that they had that you can only depend on for so much, they have the experience now. And they're going to be able to get a little bit better, while Golden State shockingly won a title this year. This was not supposed to be the title year for Golden State. They won it, and now they're going to be better. Next year was supposed to be the year, and actually next year is going to be the repeat year.
See, and I'll ask you what I asked Jim, okay? Is it possible that Wiggins – we see what happens in the finals, and it's not like Wiggins – I mean, he's a good player, right? Good player coming in the finals. People know what he is. You know what his game's about. But I kind of felt like watching that series unfold, I'm like, man, going into next season, you have the big three, and then I feel like you got a fourth guy that maybe now they know they can trust at times, where maybe if everything's not going perfect with one of the big three or two of the big three, you actually have – the fourth guy now can be four who showed in the finals. Hey, I can pick up. I can step in and do certain things, certain parts of games that need to be taken over at times. I can be there for you. Am I wrong in thinking that maybe that finals experience becomes a pivot point for Andrew Wiggins a little bit?
No, you're not wrong at all. I think it's similar to something like this. If you need Andrew Wiggins to be your second best player, your best player, 82 ninth side of the year, you're going to be disappointed, right? But if you need him to be your second best player on a given night, because the defense is shifted towards Clay, the defense is shifted towards Jordan Poole, the defense is shifted towards James Wiseman, assuming that he's out there and healthy and productive. Oh, I can eat off of these scraps. I can eat this way because I'm that talented and gifted that I can step into this role on a nightly basis, even if it's not just every night, but a night. Absolutely, it's going to be an inflection point for him. And for whatever reason, getting to the finals and getting that experience and becoming a champion, not just going through it, but just becoming a champion, gives you a level of competitive arrogance that no situation is too big. You're not going to panic. And sometimes, guys, you take a win away from a team before they even step through the door. They are intimidated by the fact that you won last June, and now you're staring across from Andrew Wiggins, championship guy, who defended Jason Tatum, and now basically he's mentally psyched out before even playing Andrew Wiggins, and Wiggins can go to a 25-point night. So, yeah, I do think it can be an inflection point based off of what that title does to other people. I'm
going to say this to you, Vinny, though, as a lifelong Warriors fan, which I admit to being, Memphis ain't gonna be no pushover next year. And I would have been fascinated to see how that series played out if Ja Morant had not gotten hurt. So all this talk going back and forth right now between the, Draymond and Jackson and the boys over there, it's gonna be a fascinating year next year to see those two going at it. Would you agree that Memphis is the biggest threat?
Absolutely. I think it's like the old school NBA that I grew up watching, or that was mythologized to me. It was Detroit chasing Boston for years and years and finally catching them after years of heartbreak. And then while that was happening, Michael Jordan was chasing the Detroit Pistons, and after years and years of heartbreak catching them. That's what the Memphis Grizzlies look like. They don't care that the Golden State Warriors were 3-time champions, 4-time champions, the names on the front of the jerseys or the back. They literally cared less about the pedigree. All they wanted was a shot in between those four lines. And yeah, they played immature during that series. And with Ja Morant being hurt, you could kind of see how that series was going to play. And I was at that series and watched this sort of develop and take shape once Ja Morant got hurt. But now when you have that experience as a young team and the game is no longer too big for you, and you look across the way, and it was like that scene in Rocky IV where Drago cut, he's like, see, he's a man, he bleeds. And you're like, yeah, they do bleed. We can beat them. And I think even if they don't beat them next year, they're going to inch closer and closer as the Golden State experience becomes age and the Memphis's youth becomes experience, and you're going to meet and cross. And I think, man, if we get a 7-game series there next year, just don't leave me on the streets of Memphis by myself at night. Other than that, I'll be happy to see it from a basketball standpoint.
Well, speaking of bleeding, I'm glad you brought up bleeding because I'm a Detroit Pistons fan my entire life. I'm ready for the bleeding to stop. It's exciting to come out of a draft, see how excited people are. I was happy to see Ivy fall to 5. Picking up Duren in the trade, that's great. But now I'm wondering, what's going to happen with DeAndre Ayton, right? It's not – I have to presume Detroit is probably going to sit there and go, well, we can add pieces here and there rather than doing a max-level deal with Ayton. Am I wrong? And what happens with Ayton now?
I believe that Ayton could be used as a piece in a much bigger trade involving a bigger name than himself.
I like this.
I just sort of leave that out there and let you guys sort of connect the dots on your own. You know what I mean? I'm not in a position to say anything, but I had something insinuated to me, so I would just leave it there. But I like him a lot. I think he's, in the league that's sort of going away from size. He can defend at all 3 levels. He can post up. He can play pick and roll. Yeah, that finish with Phoenix was ugly, but I don't think you'll have a shortage of teams who don't have bigs ready and able. I do think, Charles, with Detroit getting Duren in the draft, that lessens their appetite to go and pay someone at that position premium dollars. Right. But I don't think there'll be a lack of interest. And put it like this: as someone who covered the Pistons when they were bad, I would have quit them. I will say, considering I'm talking to 2 football guys, July 27th, 1999 was the day that I quit the Detroit Lions, never to return again. And I still have my hair.
And that's why. That is exactly why.
My daddy is
man.
bald.
Well, okay, I'll tell you what.
He didn't quit.
Listen. All right, so if Ayton's going in a deal, if that could potentially happen, you're saying he's not the best player involved in the trade. That's what you're telling us.
I'm saying if you can read the tea leaves, if you need someone to be used in a bigger trade, in a sign and trade, maybe he can be used as bait.
Okay.
I got an idea.
You want to give us?
I got an idea.
Oh, okay. Jim, come on. Like, at least roll it out and let's judge the reaction.
No. I'm gonna wait on it, but I got an idea. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna say this, Benny. You know this. How real is the possibility, if we're putting percentages on it, that both Kyrie and KD are not in Brooklyn next year?
Oh, I like this.
That is so contingent on Kyrie calling the bluff of the Brooklyn Nets and giving up $30 million, right? I feel like at this stage that relationship has been fragmented beyond return, but it's Kyrie, so anything can happen.
Right.
If Brooklyn doesn't get anything back of reasonable substance for Kyrie Irving, if Kyrie just walks and there's no sign and trade, he opts out of his contract, and you leave Kevin Durant with Ben Simmons, don't know if he's going to play, and all the rest of those old guys, I don't know if Kevin Durant would be long for that situation. So I would say, as of today, 55-45, they're gone.
I think if Kyrie's gone, Kevin's gone.
I'm with you. With Kyrie, anything can happen. They can turn around tomorrow and he'll say, you know what, I'll sign a short deal. I'll figure it out. You know, he'll be like that long lost cousin that comes around and he'd be like, you know what, man, I have turned my life around. And then 20 minutes after that, like, hey, man, you got $20.
Well, Vinny Goodwill.
For KD to say I'm staying out of it after not staying out of any other situation speaks volumes.
And the volume is, and the silence is deafening.
We appreciate it, Vinny, man. Thanks for bringing it.
Hey, appreciate y'all, man. Love both of y'all work, man. Love you.
Appreciate you, Vinny. We love yours too, man.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.